What if the biggest threats aren't announced with, trumpets and swords, but creep in like an unnatural cold? A cold that just silences things.
Mm.
Imagine a world where loyalty gets pushed to its limits by these icy nightmares, and whispers of old gods get tangled up with cold, hard politics.
That's exactly the world we're looking at today.
Hmm.
We're drawing on sources like George R.R. Martin's A Game of Thrones, but we're not just retelling the story.
Right.
We're trying to pill out those early clues, the first signs of trouble, and also, importantly, those little sparks of maybe resilience that you see early on.
Yeah, the positive angles.
Exactly. And before we really get into it, we should mention Mindful Moments. It's this great YouTube channel. They use AI to analyze books, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it encourages the kind of reflection, the critical thinking that we try to do here when we explore these sources.
Definitely worth checking out. Okay, so let's kick things off up north. Way up north. Sir Waymar Royce, his rangers,
Yeah.
they run into something beyond the wall. And it's not just bandits or wildlings, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, Garrett, the older ranger, he talks about the cold being the real enemy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how it can just steal your life away quietly.
Yeah.
That's chilling enough.
Sure is.
But Will, the other ranger, he feels something more, like a presence, something watching, something unnatural.
And then he actually sees it. This pale figure, gaunt, with armor that seems to shift. It's the first real glimpse of this supernatural threat kind of stepping onto the stage.
It is. And the encounter, well, it ends badly for the Rangers. It's brutal and sudden, a really stark contrast to the world they left behind.
Yet, even with that grim beginning, there's Robb Stark's later thought, right, about the deserter they executed earlier. How he was brave, even though he was clearly terrified.
Yes. That's a key insight, I think, into that northern idea of courage. It's not about not being afraid. It's about doing what you have to do despite the fear, honor, duty, that kind of thing.
Okay, let's shift south to Winterfell. A different kind of atmosphere, but still complex.
Yep.
You have Ned Stark, Lord of Winterfell, and his connection to the old gods. That heart tree in the gods' wood.
That weirwood tree, yeah.
Yeah.
With a face carved into it. It feels ancient, watchful. It really roots Ned and, well, the North itself in this deep, almost primal history and tradition.
But then you've got Catelyn, his wife. She follows the new gods, the faith of the Seven. She even has her own sept, her own chapel, right there in Winterfell.
Exactly. And that difference, though maybe subtle at first, it points to these potential divides, cultural, religious, right within the main family. It hints that maybe things aren't quite as unified as they seem.
And speaking of division, we get glimpses of Daenerys Targaryen across the Narrow Sea. Just fragments, really. Memories of a home she barely knew, violence, exile.
Mm-hmm. It sets up her entire motivation, doesn't it? This sense of loss, of injustice. It plants the seeds for her wanting to reclaim something, for future conflict driven by that past trauma.
Then, bang, royalty arrives. King Robert Baratheon rides into Winterfell. Big procession, lots of fanfare, and he wants Ned to be his hand, his chief advisor.
He does. But Robert, he doesn't seem like a happy king, does he? He seems, well, kind of tired of it all. Always talking about the past, the rebellion, how things used to be.
Yeah, there's a vulnerability there. Like the weight of the crown is heavier than he expected. It makes you wonder about leadership and strength.
And you see how the kids react to all this. The Stark children meeting the royal party. Arya, she couldn't care less about sewing and being ladylike.
Huh.
While Sansa is just completely starstruck by Prince Joffrey, instantly smitten. Shows you their different paths right away.
And Jon Snow, the quiet observer. Even at the big feast, he's sort of on the edges, but he has this intense bond with his direwolf ghost. An outsider, maybe, but perceptive.
Definitely. And even young Bran, climbing around, finding his secret spots like that broken tower.
Yeah.
He's absorbing the history, the feel of Winterfell.
But then things start to get uneasy. Catelyn gets a message, a warning. We don't know what it says because she burns it almost immediately.
Right. And that act itself, burning it screams secrecy, doesn't it? Her suspicion is instant. What was in that message? Who sent it? It's the first real hint of hidden plots right there in Winterfell.
And it leads to friction between her and Ned about him going south to be the Shah. They both want to protect the family, sure, but they have different ideas about the best way to do it.
That protective instinct is strong in both of them, but yeah, different approaches, which highlights the tough spot they're in.
Plus, there's the whole underlying tension about Jon Snow's mother. That mystery, and Catelyn's, well, her open dislike for him. It's a wound in the family that's never really healed.
A really significant source of internal conflict. It's been festering for years, you know. Who knows what consequences that could have down the line.
And then the fall. Bran. climbing, like always. But this time, he sees something in that broken tower, something he wasn't supposed to see, and he's pushed.
It's shocking, just brutal. Suddenly, the danger isn't just beyond the wall or across the sea. It's right there, inside Winterfell. It kicks off this whole chain reaction of suspicion, fear, searching for answers.
This seems like a good moment to pause, actually. It really underscores how complex these narratives are. It reminds me, again, of channels like Mindful Moments and, well, the kind of discussions we try to have on our shows, really digging into the layers, encouraging that deeper look.
Absolutely. Because that attack on Bran, it changes everything. It proves there are enemies operating in the shadows, willing to do terrible things. And you have to ask, who benefits from silencing a curious little boy? What secrets are worth that price?
Meanwhile, other moves are being made. Across the sea, Daenerys receives a wedding gift from Magister Illyrio. Dragon eggs.
Dragon eggs, I mean, talk about a potent symbol. Fossils, basically, but representing this immense lost power. The potential for dragons to return and just scramble the whole political map.
It's a huge hint at what might be coming. And back in Westeros, you have Varys, the master of whisperers. We get a little peek at his network when he reports on Ser Jorah Mormont's past.
Varys, the spider. It shows you right away how important information and controlling it is in this world. He knows things. His spies are everywhere. That knowledge of Jorah hints at this huge tangled web of secrets and loyalties.
And there's another attack at Winterfell. An attempted arson in the library tower.
Yeah, that's bolder, isn't it? Not just targeting a person, but maybe knowledge itself. Destroying records, perhaps.
Yeah.
It suggests the enemy is getting more desperate, or maybe they're after something specific stored there.
In Catelyn, after the first attack, the one on Bran, she notices the dagger the assassin used. Valyrian steel. Very rare, very expensive. Not something a common cutthroat would own.
Sharp observation. She immediately realizes it wasn't his. That deduction is critical.
And then Littlefinger shows up and claims the dagger belongs to Tyrion Lannister. Boom. Suspicion immediately falls on one of the most powerful families in the realm.
Right. Whether Littlefinger's telling the truth or not, his words point the finger directly at the Lannisters, setting off this whole cascade of accusation and counter-accusation. It's pouring fuel on the fire.
And speaking of fire, there's that awful incident on the King's Road. Prince Joffrey being cruel, Arya defending her friend, her wolf Nymeria stepping in.
Yeah, and Sansa gets caught in the middle, Joffrey gets scratched, Cersei demands a wolf pays the price, but Nymeria's gone.
So Sansa's wolf lady pays the price instead. Joffrey lies, Sansa backs him up to protect him. It's brutal. It shows you the Lannisters' power, Joffrey's cruelty, and it drives this huge wedge between Arya and Sansa.
A really harsh lesson in King's Landing politics and power dynamics. The Starks are clearly vulnerable there, and it shows Cersei's ruthlessness.
And through all this, Ned is getting increasingly uneasy, isn't he? He's remembering the rebellion, things Robert did back then, questioning the king he's now agreed to serve.
You can see the moral conflict starting to build in him. He's a man of honor, but he's entering this world of intrigue and questionable actions. It foreshadows some really tough choices ahead for him as Heothed.
So we've really just scratched the surface today, haven't we? Tracing these first threads, the danger in the north, the tensions inside Winterfell, the first political plays heating up, the whole stage is being set.
Definitely. It's clear that individual choices, family loyalties, ancient history, maybe even supernatural forces, they're all starting to collide.
Think about those warnings about the cold. The literal cold beyond the wall, sure, but also that metaphorical coldness, the ruthlessness, the political maneuvering. How do these early signs hint at the massive struggles to come?
And amidst all that darkness, what glimmers of strength do you see? We mentioned courage, loyalty, that sense of justice trying to emerge even when things look bleak. Those positive qualities are there right from the start, even if they're tested.
Absolutely. To keep exploring this world with us and to support content that encourages this kind of critical thinking, please do subscribe to our channel. Share the discussion if you found it interesting.
And consider checking out the source material itself. You can often find links in the description.
Most importantly, keep thinking critically about the stories you engage with. What other layers are there? What interpretations did we miss? What other positive theories about resilience or hope could you find in these early events? Keep questioning.